Test. 1, 2, 3. Good. Good. So I don't know how experienced you guys are, and I don't mean in piano. I mean in life in general. But in university, when your professor doesn't show up for 15 minutes, you are quote unquote allowed to leave class and not attend because at that point you you assume that the professor doesn't give a rat's ass. So the fact that you guys are all still here are very much appreciated. I put up my stream. I'd recommend just listening to either me on the voice chat or to watch the stream, because if you do both, there's gonna be some delay. No delay is not found. Z's is here. He's going to be, I guess, taking care of moderating the chat and making sure that there's no malarkey going on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little tired. It is 7:43 a.m. on the west coast of the United States. I'm getting coffee. I wish I got more coffee, but all right. So let's start off with a preface. I am by no means any expert, right, at the piano, but I thought it would be good to offer my perspective in such a way that it makes sense for anybody. And you can take that as you will. You don't have to take what I say for truth. I'm just some dude in a shirt, drinking tea, drinking coffee, and whatever. Alright, that being said, let's get to it. What is up, guys? It is your boy, Easy and Demon, in the motherfucking house. Today, we are going to be doing an analysis on something. What the hell are we doing? There we go. I am a fucking idiot. Alright. So, yeah. Let me go back here. Sweet. Now let me also mute myself so that I don't listen to myself. Okay, good. What was I saying? Yeah. So let's go on first. Who is AZ and Demon, and why the hell are we doing this? Why the hell you're asking, right? And I always appreciate when professors, tell me, why the hell I should be listening to them. And this is where they provide their credentials, right? I am Asian Demon, right? 27 years old, majoring in computer science, criminal justice, 5 years of symphonic flute, 10 years of self-taught piano, and about 2 months of classical. Joined Anna Music in December 2017. Left October 2018, and I rejoined this month. So, again, you might be asking, okay, all that's good, but I don't see where you have any say in trying to tell me what music is, right? I don't see where you have any say in telling me how I should play my songs. What expertise do you offer? And again, I've said already, I don't, right? I like to think that I have a very unique style, right? And I'm damn good at it. My own style, that is. And that's kind of where I kind of want everyone to be comfortable with, right? You don't have to be Animens, you don't have to be Ishtar, you don't have to be, whoever, right? You don't have to copy anyone else. You just have to be yourself. And I think that's the best part about music. So, let's talk about the purpose of this little presentation, this seminar. We're gonna go over the fundamentals. We're going to provide some alternative and improvisational options, right? We're going to I'm going to offer my perspective, my quote unquote analysis and expertise, and hopefully by the end of this this little seminar, we're going to increase your level of playing. It is about 7:50. Start time was about 7:40ish. So let's aim for 45 minutes to 1 hour seminar. Let's get going. Fundamentals. Playing river flows normally. So what does that mean when I say to play something normally, right? Does that mean to play it the way that you intend it, right? The way that the composer intended it, or the way that you think that the composer intended it? I don't know. Right? To me, it would sound like something very basic. Right? And I can't even say that that's probably what it means to play normal, right? Because I don't know. I don't have the sheet music. I don't actually don't know this song, right? I don't know Yurima's version of the song, right? I do know my version of the song, and that's what's important to me. But let's say you're a very good person, and you went out on Amazon you went on Amazon and then you bought Yurima's whatchamacallit, you bought his book of how to play River Flows in You for a solid $7.99. And on it you see, about 3 pages of just boring stuff, and you see all these dynamics, right? You see like, oh yeah, play at this tempo, play at this dynamic, make sure that these notes line up and stuff. And I'd say that's a good start. I'd say, yeah, watch your tempo. You don't want to play terribly fast. You don't want to play like... Yeah, you want to make sure that all your notes line up, right? You know? Make sure that your dynamics are good, right? I wouldn't say to play too loud, but don't play too soft. Yurima, in the couple of performances that I did watch, right, it appeared to be at a mezzo forte, right? A solid mezzo forte is good. Play the right notes, right? I think that's also very important. It wouldn't make sense to play the song if you're playing the wrong notes. And lastly, in terms of the fundamentals, I'd say practice your scales. And the reason I say that is because it makes a lot of sense when you understand the key. And it's not like these scales are just just for practice. I feel that scales are also very good for improvisation, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But if you can watch your tempo, mind your dynamics, play the right notes, I am 100% sure that you too can also play River Flows in You normally, or at the very least, your perspective of normal. Let's talk about intermediate improvisation. Now we talk about energy. Okay, what does it mean to change the energy of a song? Listed here, we have a few things that you guys would may or may not be familiar with. We have arpeggios, we have chords, octave shifting, grace notes, and melody. But let's focus on the top two for a second. Arpeggios. Arpeggio, by definition, is a chord that is played broken up, right, in a rhythmic manner. Right, so technically an arpeggio, right? Also an arpeggio. I'd say this is probably more of a left-hand pattern. But what does that do? What happens when we take the basic arpeggio provided to us by Yurima in River Flows in You, and we add this sort of, I guess we make it a little more complex, right? So we move from something like now let's arpeggiate it a little bit. get a lot more movement, right? More specifically, you get a lot more upward movement, right? And that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying about change the energy. Because now that left hand is becoming more active. You're listening more because there's more going on. The right hand doesn't stand out as much anymore. It still stands out because the left hand's, still fairly generic. But you don't have that lingering feel when you have that basic arpeggio, right? Let's go back to the original. Right? With such a simple arpeggio, the left hand lingers more, right? It's much more background, right? And the energy is not as high. It is important, however, to not overdo this. It's very easy to over arpeggiate. And the result is that the left hand just absolutely overshadows the right hand, right? And then it sounds very busy. And it doesn't sound as appealing because the right hand dies out. It doesn't go through anymore. Right? There's too much energy in the left hand that's going on that it's hard to get that get them the real meaning, right? Chords. Let's talk about chords. Chords, on the other hand, in my opinion, if played correctly, they're actually my go-to. I do like playing chords. I especially like playing chords with the right hand, both of the first inversion and the second inversion. Chords are a good way of making your sound more full, right? When you notice the beginning of right, the most notes I probably played at one time on my right hand was this third right here, right, the G sharp and the B. But let's increase the fullness, right? So let's and it sounds a lot more full, right? You don't have that lone note just piercing through. You have the entire chord. But that's just in terms of the melody, right? So what happens when we chord our left hand? It actually lowers the energy, right? Because there's no movement, right? There's no idea of movement, like when we arpeggiated it. Now it's just a standstill chord, right? So that's interesting. Okay. What I like to do, I like to play inverted chords, right, moving up. So it gives the best of both worlds, right? When you have inverted chords moving up, you have that idea of energy, right? That idea of movement. But you're still providing that full sound that a chord has that an arpeggio can't match, right? So for example, Very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Octave shifting. This I put there just as an example, right? Just like how I put grace notes in there. It's not really a hard. Maybe I should. Right, but he doesn't stray any further than that. Is it lagging? Is the stream good? No, it looks good to me. But he doesn't stray any further than that. So, I guess for those of you in chat, what is the effect, right? If I started playing, or if I started playing, you know, really low. All right, and you know, you can. There's no wrong answer, but I would like to see what you guys think. Just throw a couple of answers up on chat while I sip on my my coffee that should honestly have more alcohol in it. Audio's good, audio's good. And I'll probably leave that up for about 30 seconds for answers, just so you guys can think about it a little. Right? Just ponder. What's the difference between playing what is the difference? The tone is different, right? When I did take lessons so long ago, for those lovely 2 months, my teacher told me that your playing should imitate singing, right? It should imitate a person singing or a person talking. Because how do people talk? We talk not monotone, right? We talk with inflections. We talk with emphasis on certain notes. And when we talk about the pitch of where we're playing, it's mostly within this area right here. This would probably, you know, be our upper limit, but any more than that, and it doesn't replicate the human voice as well, right? Same for this lower register right here. Probably down here would be a little much too low, and you know, people will say like, oh no, you're wrong, right? Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. But most songs are played here. So what happens, right, if we start playing up here, right? You get this effect, right? It's higher, right? It's lighter, right? Because it's higher. I would actually play these notes a little faster to give that sort of airy feel, right? So I would do something like. Right? I do like the sound of arpeggios at this higher register. On this lower register, however, I would play it a lot slower, right? I will definitely lower the energy, right? and I would chord these notes. Right? To appreciate it at this low register, all the notes would sort of they kind of mesh together, and you don't hear it as well. I think here you can get away with it, right? But if you were to go any lower than that and you try to appreciate it, right, it sounds very very bassy, right? Right down here, arpeggios don't sound as good. I like the chords here. Right here, you can get away with both the chords and the arpeggios, and you can play around with that to see what kind of effect you want to give your songs. Right? Do you want to? Interesting. Very interesting. I need more coffee. Otherwise, we're not going to last. Grace notes. Grace notes are also a very good way to spice up the melody, right? And it's very easy, right? I'll go over that really quickly and just... Very, very easy to add grace notes in. It's just a note prior to the actual note that's in the melody. Changing the energy and changing the melody. Okay, very interesting. What does that mean, right? And I'll go over that in the next section, but just to I guess provide some sort of context. You can, like I've said, right? You can change your initial left hand, right? Arpeggiate more, add more chords. Right? Changing the melody, right? Such that it still is within the same theme, right? The same motif, perhaps. The same idea. The same idea. We're going to come back to that. Let's go to the chord progression. Understanding the chord progression. The key is in F sharp minor, and your normal, quote unquote, chord progression goes F sharp minor, D, A, E. Okay? Now let's consider F sharp minor, D, B minor, C sharp. And how does this change the song? Okay? So... Now if we play it the other way, F sharp minor, D, B minor, C sharp, what happens? Aha. It changes completely the feel, right? It changes completely the resolution, right? With that C sharp, right? Piercing through. Why is that? Why is that? Let's see here. This would be a fun question. All right. So why does that C sharp work so well? All right, and I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to put that answer up. Why does this chord progression work? Okay. Why does it work like that? Progressive and resonates with the youth of today. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the best answer out of all of these was it's progressive and resonates with the youth of today. Right? I mean, I guess Z's answer is a lot more accurate. But let's go over to the next question, right? Before we answer this one, right? What's so important about E? So let's take a quick detour, right? And let's talk about a little bit of music theory, right? Let's say, for example, Doki Doki Literature Club in C major, chord progression going C major, A minor, F major, G major. All right, and in this song, I like to focus on two of these notes, right? Namely this F, and namely this G. This G is actually quite important because it is the fifth in this scale, C major. G is the dominant, right? So we have your tonic right here, C, right? F, which is your subdominant. G, which is your dominant. B, which is your leading tone, and then C, which is your tonic again. So why is G so important here, right? G is the dominant because it pulls to resolve to C the best, right? Right? G to C, right? It makes sense in major songs, right? F is the subdominant because it's F, right? Press F in chat, thank you. It's a subdominant. It pulls not as well to resolve to C, but it still pulls, right? In, let's say, right? And that's the fourth. So you were like, okay, Demon, why the fuck are we telling me? Why are you telling me this? What about E, right? E in F sharp minor, right? That's the leading tone. But more importantly, it is the dominant when we talk about the relative major. Okay? Right? We go from this E back to right? E pulling to F. Or E pulling to F sharp. And you're like, okay, I get it. You know, in major songs, the dominant pulls towards the tonic, right? And in minor songs, that's the same when we're talking about the relative major, right? But I guess for the sake of, you know, for this, we'll just call it the leading tone because I don't want to talk about the relative major right now. We'll say the leading tone pulls to the tonic right here, right? Right? And you can see this happen in a lot of songs. I'm going to use Brave Shine again as an example, right? It's an F minor, right? So we're going to expect this E flat to pull towards this F, right? Which does make sense, right? Right? Right. And it's not the first time that it happens, right? Right? And then you expect that, you know, that resolution on F minor. You know? So you're like, okay, I get it, right? I get it. Why you're telling me these things, right? And you're telling me about resolution, but why is this important? You know, how is this going to help me, right? It helps because you now starting to understand chord progression, right? You're now starting to understand that there is a natural flow of things such that it is melodic, right? And it makes sense. Or actually harmonic. Right? So, going back to our original question, right? C sharp major. Why does that work? Because in your typical F sharp minor scale, right? Key, right? This C sharp, what is it? That's your dominant, right? We just talked about this. Right? But if you play it in that major, it gives a lot brighter feel. Interesting. Very, very interesting. This is important, right? Because when we know that it's going to pull to resolve on our tonic, right? We can emphasize it in different ways to create different effects, right? We know that right? It makes more sense to really pull out that E, right? Really elongate it, right? So you can finally resolve to that F sharp, right? So if you're going to shift the energy, right, that would be a good place to do it. You can do a crescendo, right, from that point, all right, or you can do, you know, a decrescendo. You can start changing the tempo, slowing it down, right, or speeding it up. Well, I mean, I don't know how fast you would like to play the song, but again, that's up to you. It's your song. Yeah. Do what you want. All right. Let's talk about advanced improvisation. So in the first section, we talked about the fundamentals, understanding the song, right? Playing it normally, right? Or how you think normal would sound. In the second section, we talked about intermediate improvisation, right? Changing the energy, right? Adding arpeggios or chording both your left hand or your right hand, or a combination of both, right? There's a solid. Right, there's a good balance in between two, and you know, as long as you understand what sort of energy those techniques provide, you should be good. And again, this is all dependent on what your intent with song is. And now, as we go towards advanced improvisation, I'd like to bring up another subject, right? Understanding and changing the idea. Given that I didn't prepare this all the way because I woke up too late. This is a little blank, but that's okay. This would be a good place to, I guess, end it, because there's a lot that I could put here, but there's so many things you can do, right? I would say changing the melody, right? I would say changing the key, all right, is also a good one, right? Modulating is also a good idea. So what I mean by changing the key, or let's say changing the melody, real quick. We'll change the melody of the song, right? But we won't change it so much, such that you lose the idea that it is River Flows in You, right? A lot of people don't know this, but Yurima actually has lyrics for this song, right? He sang this song, right? So when we talk about, right, we think that's the melody, right? But consider, what if this was actually background, right? What if this was accompaniment piano? If that's accompaniment piano, what's the melody, right? And again, it's very simple, right? So I'll start off by playing the right, and then I'll start going into his the voice, right? So. right? You have the original melody, right? Just right, but when he sings the song, right? Right? It's not the same, right? Some of the notes are different, but that first part right here is similar enough such that it still holds the same idea, right? It's still within the same theme, right? And that's what I mean by changing the melody, right? You're still playing the same song, right? But it's a very good complement. Let's take another improvisation provided. Here, I should put these links up. Actually, give me a sec. Shit. Just so you guys can have as a reference. And also so I don't get a copyright stroke or something. This one right here I think is excellent, right? So this first one right here is Yurima singing with his song. This one, however, is an improvisation with Yurima and Henry, right, which is some K-pop guy. And it's different. It features it changes to a different chord progression. And then he does a key change, a very abrupt half key change up, right? So it goes something like. And so what kind of effect does that have, right? If you're starting off from, your normal, very interesting, because at first we start off with your normal chord progression right here, right, where we have F sharp, D, A major, and then back to E. They switch, right, to an F sharp, E, right, D, and then C sharp major. So what effect does this have on the song? Right? The chords are progressing downward. All right? The chords are progressing downward. So the chords are progressing downwards, and then immediately after, he goes half key change up, right, into the next part of the song. Which sounds very bright, right? Despite the fact that, you only went one half key change up. So what happens? What happens, right? Our chord progression changes, right? Our key changes, and then our chord progression changes again, right? We go from here to back to, right? Which sounds very bright. I've always said before, right, that when we talk about that change of energy, we usually refer to tempo. We usually refer to dynamics, right? How loud something is, right? We talk about movement, right? And arpeggiating for that energy. But this is a different sort of energy change, right? When we talk about changing the key, right? I like to think that changing the key, even if you're not changing any of those other things, right, is an illusion of increased energy, right? And if you note, I'll play it again, right? But I don't change the dynamics. I don't change the tempo, right? I don't change any of those things. And yet, you can feel the surge, right? You can feel the sense of energy increasing because of that key change. And it doesn't have to, and I feel like this half tone key change, right? Going from F sharp minor to G minor, right? Is subtle enough that you don't need any, I guess, modulating chords, right? But let's say you wanted to go from F sharp minor to G sharp minor, right, which is a full tone, right? I would add in a modulating chord at that point, right? So you'd. Right? And you can add some sort of modulating chord there. This is very useful, right? For as a lot of people in this community do, is improvise into transitioning into another song, right? And that just goes only as far as what your knowledge of the song is. So let's say improvise and transition into other songs, right? And it gives a very nice effect. And that's pretty much the I guess the most important part about this slide, right? Is when you can change the idea, when you can mold the idea to portray something that's yours, right? When Yurima wrote this song, this was intended to be a love song, right? A longing song, right? When you look at the lyrics, right? Which is why he played his left hand the way that it's out there, right? Right? If we appreciated it any more, we take away from that longing effect, because what does this do? Right? You're being held on by that third note in every measure. Right? That third note carries, all right? It longs for, it reaches out. Right? If we appreciated it any more, it doesn't last as long, right? And it doesn't carry as long, which takes away from the entire effect. Same if we added a chord, right? So this simple left hand, right, definitely is I'd say is important in Yurima's overall idea, right, and what he wants to accomplish. Again, that's not what you have to do, right? This is your arrangement. This is from your perspective. What do you want to do with the piece, right? Say you want it to be a little more you want it to move a little more, right? So right? And again, you want to make sure you don't over arpeggiate, otherwise you start losing the idea, right? And you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, right? But I think once you understand the idea, you can mold it to what you want, right? So you can mold that idea to be yours. All right, let's see. How's the time? We just hit the 1 hour mark. Sweet. At this point, I will take questions. And then we'll hang around for maybe another 5 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. So, what do you guys want to know about this? All right. Was there any other questions? I'll take comments, concerns, other miscellaneous feedback. Demon, I don't know how your hair looks today. You know, it doesn't. It's very bad. Well, that's because I just freaking woke up. Modulation and key change, to me, it's always the same thing. One of the functions of the chords of how you waste them. How was the coffee? Coffee was good. I needed more. I should have gotten a larger glass. The modulation, right? So I'll go over this part again because I think it is very interesting. How did I do it? So that was just an instant key change. Instant key change, right? As opposed to modulation, where I go, let's say, right? So right here, this would be the modulating chord. This would be, I guess, part of the modulating chord progression. This would be the resolution, right, on your new tonic, G sharp. What are the functions of the chords and how you voice them? What are the functions of the chords and how you voice them? I'm not sure I understand the question. Again, when we talk about chords, right? And I'm gonna talk in a very generic way and almost superficial way, right? Because this is not the case for all songs. When we talk about chords, right, especially in the left hand, we talk about something that provides harmony, right? That complements the right hand, right? As I was saying before. Right? The left hand complements the right hand, right? I could take that same chord progression. Well, not the same chord progression. It's a little different. Right? The left hand is there to provide harmony with the right hand. It sets the tone, literally. And like I said before, how you play that left hand will determine, again, that overall energy. You know, if you just chorded it, we'll use that song again. There's definitely less movement when we do chords as opposed to arpeggios. And that's because there's no movement, right? It's just chords, right? So when you say what are the functions of the chords is how you voice them, that's what it is. It's a secondary voice, right? Let's do inverted chords upwards instead, right? Right? It gives a different feel, right? It's a different energy. I hope that answers your question. Oh, jeez. All right. With that, I will say that is the end of today's seminar. We are at the 1 hour mark. So thank you guys very much for showing up. I very much appreciate you guys being here. It means that the server is still very much active. I did my best to put this together in the week I had between everything. And I want to hear your feedback, right? So in the suggestions chat, I'm gonna put DemonZ feedback starts here, right? In here, I'd like to for you to add your feedback. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I improve on? Right? What would you like to see more of? And what was your overall feeling? You know, all these things. If you want it to be a little more, I guess, anonymous, you can just send it to Z's and then he'll put it up there. And you know, I promise I won't be offended or anything. I don't really care. But it is good feedback because I want to know is this something that we should do more of in the future? Is this something that everyone should do, not just me? And personally, I'd like to see more people do this. I'd like there's there's a whole lot of skilled and talented people in here with different skill sets that it's definitely a shame that we don't see more of these seminars. But you know, this is only the first one. This is I mean this is round 2. I'd like this to be sort of the the gateway, right, as to how you can go about this. If I were to do this again, I'd probably pick something a little less annoying. Right? I know for sure that Tao has something planned, right, for a sort of jazzy masterclass or whatever. Will I do something more? We'll see. We'll see. Again, it depends on the feedback. It depends on how many people are interested. And yeah, so with that, I'd like to give you guys a farewell. And let me think if there's anything else I need to say. Yeah, keep playing, guys. You guys are all musicians, right? You guys might all have different skill levels. Different skill levels, different backgrounds, and different I guess availability to play, but you guys are all musicians, and I think it's a beautiful thing when music connects us all together into this little community, right? Such that we can, share this passion. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys very much. Oh wait, we got a question. Fuck. All right, what is it? Can I get in your level before the week is over? I mean, I'd say anything's possible. Anything's possible. I wish I had a proper teacher, but I don't regret learning everything by myself, because now I have a much more solid understanding that's not as superficial, right? Only because I've played it for so long and so much of it. That makes sense to me, and that's the important part. That it makes sense to you. All right, guys. Thank you guys very much for showing up, and have a good day.